Am a girl. Painfully relevant. When I started working at GameStop, I thought it was a gamer's dream. Play and talk about games all day and get paid for it. What could go wrong? Oh, it could go wrong, all right. One of my coworkers was a planetary neckbeard who always wore the exact same black shirt and black pants down to the food stains. He chugged Pepto-Bismol constantly. He was greasy all the time. Black heads galore. Would be our Popping's disgusting wet dream. Long black hair, always in a ponytail. His scent was best described as axe to acrid. Best guess on age was early to mid-20s. But his acne was so bad I literally have no remote idea. He would not do shit, both on his break and when he was supposed to be working. He sat in the back room playing games on his PSP on top of the console boxes, and he was so fat he actually broke one of the PS3s once. He used to pressure people at the food court to fill up his styrofoam food container with more food. On the down low, he got a number of stories to charge mall employees a smaller amount for food so he could double his helpings per shift. He was so fat, he often could not even make it out of the store in time for the timed alarm to set when we'd close. He was so fat, he would pick up his stomach and rest on the counter. I want to make it clear that I'm not saying these things to fat shame him, but I'm definitely hygiene and etiquette shaming him. He just never seemed to bathe or be aware of his surroundings. Battletoads was the funniest thing in the world to him. He would make Battletoads jokes all the time to absolutely nobody's amusement. He would even call the store while he was on his break to ask if we had Battletoads. He would not care if credit cards were cut in half and retaped. He'd run them through anyway. This was Miami, so it may have been fair to assume half of the normal credit cards were stolen anyway. He would always make customers nervous by asking them about their first 4 digits of their credit card instead of the last 4 because he memorized them and he wanted to freak them out, and it was a totally inappropriate thing to do. He was apparently so hated by his previous GameStop that they barred him from working at one of the stores in a nicer part of town. He was always lazy, always leave stuff undone. The only thing I actually saw him do was to alphabetize things on the upper shelves, but not the lower shelves because he never bent down. Sometimes he would sit down because we had such small space the customers would just walk around awkwardly, so he just stopped doing that. He would always have a giant soda, biggest styrofoam container of soda they sold at the mall all the time. But that's just the introduction. If everything I just described was the human equivalent of forgetting to pay a parking ticket on time, buckle in and prepare your body for social Hiroshima. One night he asked me if I could drive him to the train station after a shift. It being Miami, the outside temperature was usually around the range of the surface of the sun, so I figured it was at least a humane thing to do, considering the train station was several blocks away. As he got in my car, the car tilted towards him and remained that way for the duration of the ride. I do not remember anything we talked about because the last words he spoke to me before he got out of the car had been laser etched into my brain for all eternity. When I get home, I'm going to masturbate to you. I handed in my 2-week notice the next day. Alright, so it's my sophomore year in high school. I was in JROTC when he got on a land-nav field trip. Basically, we get coordinates and a pace count to find certain spots on our map. We were in groups of about 5 people, and for some reason, my group wanted to run everywhere. The running was no problem for me because I was on the physical team in JROTC. Although one of our group, the lovely stalker neckbeards of the story, could not keep up. Stereotypical neckbeard, kinda short, fat, and just all around creepy looking. Smelled like he did not even know what a shower was. I'm sure that if he did not have time to shave for the class, he would have had the full neckbeard look. But I felt bad about leaving him behind because he looked so miserable, so I decided to stay back and walk with him. Wrong fucking choice. While walking with him, we just made awkward small talk while he huffed and struggled to walk beside me, asking me about if I had a boyfriend and such. I kept the conversation short because I did reveal I was single. Me and my big mouth. The next day, he friended me on Facebook. Not thinking anything about it, I accepted. Immediately started messaging me, asking if I liked Avatar: The Last Bender and other similar things. He started complimenting me. A lot. I did not start to get really weirded out until he started calling me his perfect woman. He constantly blew up my phone and would get mad if I did not respond in time. I should have just deleted him, but he would get really panicked and say he would kill himself when it seemed I was backing off. I tried my best to avoid him, but we did actually have JROTC together, and it made it impossible to keep him away. He would follow me around no matter what we were doing, flipping a coin, saying, "Heads, I get head, tails, I get tail," which was super creepy and cringeworthy. After about a week, he started waiting for me outside one of my classes and would try to follow me into my next class for a hug. I would dodge him until my teacher would tell him to leave. He got one of his friends to ask me why I was avoiding him, and that I should give him a chance because he's so nice, to which I always declined. It got to where he would follow me to every one of my classes and knew my schedule by heart. I told him to knock it off because it made me uncomfortable. One night, he messages me asking me why I do not give him a chance. Trying to be nice, I just told him I was into someone else. He went completely off, telling me I was a bitch and a tease and no man will ever love me the way he will. That they will just break my heart. That he is a true gentleman. He will treat me like a queen. That no one else deserves me. And he has seen death before and is not afraid to see it again. What? I deleted and blocked him and changed my route to class. About another week later, we are standing in formation in JR2C, and I feel someone grab my ass. I turn around to see him standing there, waving at me with his shit-eating grin on his face. Just as I'm about to make a scene, a friend from my team whips around to give him a bitching of a lifetime. Well, I was embarrassed and felt violated, and it happened at all. Seeing the sheer look of terror on his face was gold. I reported it, and he got a stern talking to. His friend from before tells me I was a bitch for making such a big deal about it, and I should apologize for embarrassing him. What? The next day, he messages me from a new Facebook account and asks to meet him again in person so he can apologize. Hard no. I block him and would not walk to class alone. Went a different route every day and asked teachers to keep an eye out for him so he could not come in or wait on me. One day, he got transferred to a different school out of the blue, and I have not heard from him since. I was not too sure if this needed to be in just Neckbeard things or Tinder, but here we go. But before that, some background on me. Be me, 21-year-old female, 5'2", and chubby. I guess you could say I was pretty. Most guys seem to like me, despite my crippling self-esteem, and always accept me into the groups. Comics, video games, makeup, and cosplaying were my hobbies, and it seemed to get everyone interested. This took place in the summer of 2017 after I had quit college. The summer that I had just returned home from America. Towards the end of my 6-month stay in America, I got to using Tinder. I had only used it once and got a wonderful date with a guy who I know I do consider a great friend. Anyways, I got back to my home island and got to being lonely again while searching for a job, so Tinder it was. Most of Tinder was filled with really cringe weebs or Navy and Air Force dudes. One guy looked pretty okay, and I swiped right. Long black hair with a beard, leather jacket, not too skinny, and tall. He looked like a dude you'd see at death metal concerts. Let's call him Taylor. We both talked for a week and decided to go out for some food one night. After exchanging numbers, he told me I would need to pick him up since he did not have a license. Asked him why, since he's like 25, told me that he did not want one. No problem. Most of my friends did not have one, so I was the dedicated driver. Rolling up to his house, I saw him waiting by the curb. He was wearing all black, band tee, black jeans, black combat boots, that leather jacket again, and thick glasses. I was not expecting the smell when he opened the door. It smelled like someone who had never used deodorant in their life. Smelled like he had never heard what a bath was. It took everything I had not to go and puke right there. I rolled down the window and stated my AC was not working. Lies. I just needed that stink away from me. Driving to Jack in the Box, he had leaned over to me and sniffed my hair. Okay, getting creepy. Taylor, you smell really nice. Me, oh, well, I used generic name soap. Taylor, yeah, that's nice. Girls always smell nice since they use soap. Me, do you use soap? Taylor, I have no idea. We start laughing. I'm a guy. I don't use soap. My brother said we naturally smell good. The rest of the drive was rather quiet. Thankfully, he lived only 5 minutes from Jack in the Box. I tried keeping things short and curt, wishing for the night to be over as soon as possible. We both paid for our meals and sat down to talk. I made sure to sit further away because I could not eat and smell him at the same time. Taylor started talking about how he thinks he's on the spectrum since he does not know how to interact with people. Asked him if that's what his doctor said. Says he's afraid of the doctor and dentist and has not gone since he was 9. I ate fast and tried pushing the conversation along so I can hurry and drop him back home. The conversation came around about living with our parents, and I stated that I was going to be moving out soon because I was trying to find a good, nice place and maybe some roommates. He started talking about how I should just come and live with him, his parents, and his siblings. Again, creepy. For the rest of the time we spent together was Taylor clamoring on about this anime he just discovered about witches that get magical power from sex. Finally, I got him dropped off and was waiting for him to get out. I was mindlessly talking about how I need to leave right then and there if I want to have a good night's sleep for interviews tomorrow morning. Taylor thought it would be a good idea and surprised me with a kiss. His first kiss, apparently, because it was open-mouthed and all he did was try to suck my face. And I mean, literally, he was sucking my face. I was in shock for a moment, so... well, what was happening? Then pushed him away, telling him I need to go. He thanked me for the date and I went home. That night, I took 4 scalding hot showers just to cleanse myself. He began harassing me over text, but I blocked him. I have more stories of stalker neckbeards, but that's for a different time. Thanks for reading.